Hi there, it's me, it's Mike. Or should I say, hi there, it's Gree, it's Mike. That's not anything. That's not anything at all. Hi there, and welcome to another video by me, Mike, to you. Not Mike, but maybe Mike. You might be named Mike. Anyways, I do have this 2-pack, which we have all been waiting for. Well, the we being the people that have been waiting for it. This is the second of the Clones of the Republic line. Probably the last we'll get in this fancy box. Well, not fancy, it's the older style box, you know, the old trapezoid ones with the curved sides that my camera is blurring out, but you'll get a closer view of it in just a bit. I just want to keep yapping for a second because I know there's people that love that. Anyways, I love this. I can't wait to crack it open. Let's take a look. Okay, so here is the 2-pack, the Yoda and Clone Commander Gree 2-pack. This is a Shop Disney / Disney Park / Hasbro Pulse exclusive, but it pretty famously sold out real fast, just like the very first 2-pack, which I've done a video on, and that was with this Mace Windu here, and then this, I believe it's the 187th, the purple clones, the ones that are like, everyone, it should be purple, and then they made them purple. But they put it on the old body. Anyways, I did a whole video on that, and I gotta say, I like where this is going. I really hope that we get more stuff like this. Maybe a new Obi-Wan repacked with maybe not Commander Cody, but maybe just a generic trooper from Commander Cody's set, or was it the 187th or something? You know, a new Anakin with a new Rex, or maybe just a new 501st. I understand maybe not putting it with a clone commander, but I think, you know, Mace Windu didn't come with the commander. Mace Windu just came with a generic clone. So I think this would be a cool set, but I like this. And I also find some choices on this weird. But before we get into the figures, let's take a look at the box real quick. So I believe this is going to be the last of the old style boxes with the you know, the slanted sides. We have the Clone Commander Gree. This is not part of a mural, although it does have the mural painting. We have the Yoda there on his little chair. On the back, it says, small in size, but wise and powerful. Jedi Master Yoda played an integral role in the Clone Wars, including briefly commanding a subunit of the 31st Elite Corps on Kashyyyk. Clone Commander Gree, designation 1004, assisted Yoda as a second in command until Order 66 was enacted. So that is clearly about episode 3, Order 66. However, very famously, this is not what Gree looked like. He looked more like this on that, and we'll talk about that in a second. So we'll talk about all their choices there, but that's what we have. So, and also this Yoda specifically is more from Revenge of the Sith, but this 2-pack is sort of geared around the Clone Wars. This Commander Gree is technically from a comic, and it's not even a comic book. It's a comic in a magazine. There have been 2 solid appearances of Commander Gree. In the Clone Wars, it is Phase 1 armor, and then again in Revenge of the Sith in the camo armor. He had pretty significant time in both of those looks. But in this, he just appeared in a comic from a magazine in 2013, and it was just that one. They chose that one. I don't even know how they found it. I honestly don't know, but they did. But yeah, let's go ahead and get these out of the box. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Let's just give it a shot here. There we go. I just got one out. That's nice. So I don't want to spend too much time on this. This is a clone I've taken a look at a couple of times already this year. Unlike in the first Clones of the Republic release, this is the newer body. Some like to call it the 3.0 body. I think that's a fine designation, although it really is just a slight alteration. The big difference is being that it does have an overlay on the chest now. and it does have a swivel on the biceps, and the legs are, I think they're a lot better. The proportions of this figure are a lot better. The big difference between this and the Phase 1 and Phase 2 version of this trooper is that it does have the Commander Gree markings from that specific comic. Now, these are mostly his markings from the Clone Wars cartoon, which is a Phase 1 armor look. And they could have just done that. And honestly, I don't know why they didn't. It seems to be almost a no-brainer to do a Phase 1 Commander Gree. Like, we already have the Phase 2 Commander Gree, although it is on the original clone trooper body. And I don't care what anyone says, this figure is absolutely terrible. Does it have double jointed legs and knees? Absolutely. Can you bend them worth a damn? Absolutely not. Also, this figure was the original Hasbro's gotta charge more for more painting on it. This was a Toys R Us exclusive, and I don't think I've ever actually done a video on it. Oddly enough, I've had it since it came out. I remember buying it from Toys R Us. It was, I believe, $25 instead of the normal $20 that Star Wars The Black Series figures were back then. I believe this came out, I want to say it might have been 2015, it might have been 2016. It was somewhere around there. I'm pretty sure it was 2015. It was very early in the red box era. And, you know, for the time, it was fine. We didn't really have anything better. But I never liked it because, first of all, I mean, it did cost more. And secondly, I don't know, like, this is a cool concept. I don't think the execution was all that great. But I also don't know if they would have weathering as good or camouflage as good as on here. He's got this easily lost antenna on here. You know, he's got all these new pieces on here that weren't part of the normal sculpt, but this is mostly just that old Phase 1 Clone Trooper sculpt that I genuinely don't understand how anyone could like as a toy. I mean, I guess standing on your shelf, it might look fine, but I just don't think it holds weapons naturally. I think the proportions are weird. The legs and arms are super gangly, and I definitely think that the head's just a shade too small. So this is what we're coming from. And this is easily his most famous look because this is how he looked in the movie Revenge of the Sith before Yoda, you know, decapitated him. This, again, we just got this in one quick little comic from 2013. Obviously, the one I would have preferred is the look from the Clone Wars, which is his Phase 1 look, because it's mostly this, but with a Phase 1 helmet. And then it does have that awesome little bandolier that goes up and down. I don't want to talk about his articulation. I've gone over articulation of these figures a bunch. They're nice. It's really good. If you haven't had a 3.0 Clone Trooper yet, get your hands on it. It's one of the best that Hasbro's done. But the big change here with this one is this is the first where we don't have a removable helmet. Now, he does have what looks to be a painted head underneath, but it's not. It's probably really hard to see. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it's just a little too dark up in there for the camera to pick up. But the whole thing is just in this color, so it's not a painted head. It's the color of the plastic, and I don't know why they didn't do that. I mean, the reason's always budget, 100%. So I guess I do know why they did that. For whatever reason, with this set, they didn't have the budget to do an unmasked Gree head, even though Gree does have a very recognizable head. Like for a clone trooper, he has very specific, I've seen people call it cornrows. I don't think these are cornrows. These, to me, it just looks like a dual mohawk kind of thing where there's no rows that I see. It's just two mohawks. But it is still very distinct. That is not really a big deal for me. And the thing is, you don't even have to have this be Commander Gree if you don't want to. There's no distinguishing marks on him. He could just be, in my opinion, a stormtrooper, not a stormtrooper, a clone trooper from this battalion. Then it was the 91st. So the non-Kashyyyk version, because the Kashyyyk versions all are camouflaged up. So it could just be that, not a big deal. Of course, he comes with the same blasters that every clone trooper forever has come with. Was it the DC-15, both the regular blaster and the blaster rifle. There's no paint on them. It's just gray plastic. I'm probably going to put him with the rifle because I tend to do that with Gree. Well, I did it for the first Gree because I think that's all he came with. I think the first Gree only came with this longer rifle, and then he came with binoculars. So this one doesn't come with the same binoculars that Gree came with, which, you know, kind of sucks, but at the same time, I get it because this isn't the star of the show. If you really want to know, this is not the star of the show here. And again, just look at just look at how he's holding that versus how the original Gree holds it. That's as far as that Gree can bend that arm. Whereas it's night and day, even though this is a single joint. This is why people are always like, oh, I can't believe they got rid of single joint. Single joint, double joint does not matter. It's about range of movement. And if the range of movement can't get you there with double joints, why have them? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if this is going to replace Gree on my shelf because I do like that specific looking Gree. But this is going to be on my shelf as just another clone trooper for sure. I do like him. He looks great. We'll get more into him later, but let's look at the star of the show. And to do that, of course, we have to get him out of the box. All right. I don't think that worked out as well as the other ones have, but you get the picture. So here we have the clear star of the show. This is not the first Yoda we've had in the line. In fact, this is the first Yoda we had in the line. Although this is the 2020 re-release. No, sorry. This is the 2019. No, was it 2020? We got like 3 Yodas really close to each other. So we had the first one back in like I want to say it was 2014/2015. That was this one. But then they released it in the archive with the digital face printing. And then shortly after, they released it again, I believe, in the 20th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back Kenner carded figures. And then we were also graced in that same year, excuse me, sorry, Luke, with a brand new, more accurate Yoda sculpt that I have actually done a full review on. This is the size Yoda should be. This is the original size, and this is based off of here. Although I will say, I was hoping maybe you could swap the heads around, but you can't. This is definitely painted a little bit differently. Like this has a lot more of a wash on it, and the hair is sculpted and painted. Whereas this, like this is still hair and whatnot, but it's definitely sculpted to look more like the prequels than the OT, which this was. Oh, come on now, Yoda. He doesn't want to stand up because his legs have atrophied from being in a backpack for the last 4 years. If you want to, I believe last year we were graced with the dead version, which is the same mold as the 2021, just, you know, translucent. So if you want Yodas, you have a bunch to choose from, but this is the worst one by far. I know there might be people out there that like this, but he is 100%, he's too big. These are more in scale, but I will say the head on this one looks a little bit smaller, which makes him look a little bit more proportionate. Like it just, to me, this one, oh, come on. I'm leaving this in. To me, it looks a little bit more like yogurt from Spaceballs than Yoda, although this is probably closer to the size of yogurt. Let's get this out of here. So basically, they just re-released this same mold. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same mold with a different head, although... Now, hold on. Now that I'm looking at this head, it's different. I was thinking maybe it's the same, but the smile is different. But no, it's the same. I'm looking at maybe even this one, but no, I'm pretty sure this is the same as the other one. This does to me look like a new Yoda head sculpt. It's not a huge difference, but he's got more of a smile and his ears are more, I don't know, like elf-like. I feel like they're a little bit longer, a little bit more curved on the bottom. And the top of the head is definitely sculpted differently. And the hairline is different. Like Yoda has a receding hairline here, where it starts much further back than it does, that extra 30 years, 20 years in between. 30, was it? Yeah, it's closer to 30 years in between this Yoda and this Yoda. Even though he's, 900 years old or whatever, that 30 years really makes up a lot of difference in that hairline. But finally, we have a proper prequels Yoda, and he looks like a prequels Yoda. And that to me is the big difference. I've seen a lot of people take the other Yodas and try to like customize them. I've seen people use the SH figure arts, which has been way too expensive, although I think they're just re-releasing it. But I'm a Black Series guy through and through. So if I can get Black Series, I'll get Black Series. Real quick, I don't want to go too much into his articulation because we've done that before. He has a much nicer robe this time around. The other one obviously is old and frayed, and then this one is like translucent because he's dead. But we do have a brand new robe on him. It's soft goods. It actually looks pretty good. You can easily take it off. There's no belt to worry about on this like there is on the other Yoda. I do feel like his arms might be just a little long. Like, is this really Yoda's proportions? Are his arms really almost to his feet? Is that right? Is that something I just didn't notice on the other Yoda? I feel like these arms are a little longer. No, they're about the same. It just feels really long, especially when you don't have the robe on. Maybe that's just to help with articulation when you have them like bent and whatnot to get them in lightsaber poses. But it does feel a little long. Let's get that robe back on him. Do I have to say the soft goods on the robe is nice? It's not wired, which would have been nicer, but it is nice. I do like it. So let's talk about some other stuff he comes with. Obviously, the robe and the chair. The chair's pretty good. It doesn't feel light or hollow, although it probably is. This little cushion part is actually a little bit squishy, which is neat. I don't know if it's painted or it's just a separate piece that's molded in a softer plastic, which I think that's what it is, and that's glued on. But it definitely gives it kind of a cushiony feel. But all in all, I love this. This is the kind of thing I like in the Black Series. These little world building pieces that, people like Lance Speeder Luke would have to 3D print usually to get people out of because they're missing. It's nice to have stuff like this. And Yoda sits in it pretty nicely. I mean, you can just stick his feet out if you want to and stick him in. But I would probably try to bend Yoda's legs, which they do bend, and then bend his oops. Well, his hand comes out pretty nicely. That's good to know. I was just trying to bend the arm. There we go. I'm gonna say he sits in it okay. I could probably finagle it not on camera, but for just 2 seconds and bending arms and legs and sticking him on there, he sits in there fine. It's not my favorite, but again, it's nice to have. And if that's what you're looking for on your shelf, boom, right there. So very, very nice. And of course, he does come with his prequels stick, which is different. Ooh, that bent. Hold on. I guess be real careful. It is very rubbery. Okay, so I don't have to worry about it too much. But man, I was not expecting that. He has that ball at the end, so it should, in theory, just stick onto his hand. Like, that's the whole point, right? You can't support any weight on it. It's very malleable rubber, but that's okay. So we've got Yoda with his little stick, and the stick's fine. Like I said, it's a lot more rubbery than I thought it would be. That threw me a little bit. I'm glad it's not broken, but just be aware, be cognizant. It's very rubbery. And then we do have two different versions of his saber. This is what I want Hasbro to do with every lightsaber. We have a full ignited lightsaber. I've seen someone get this in where the hilt was unpainted except for the black. So it was green all the way down with splotches of black. So it is just molded green see-through plastic with the paint on the end. I wish that Hasbro would do that more and then give us a hilt by itself. I do wish that there was a spot for his lightsaber on his waist. Man, I would give a lot for that if this little one had a little spot for it just to plug in right here, because that's where it would go. It would just go right there, and that would look so cool. But it doesn't have that. But if you want him just holding an unignited lightsaber hilt, you've got that. But I feel like if you are going to give him his lightsaber, it's going to be ignited. The nice part, in theory, is that since it is all one piece, you don't have to worry about the end breaking off from the hilt, because if it hits, like it's all just one piece. There's that little thin section in there is usually the break point. And since that's not there, I just don't think we'll have issues if Yoda wants to fall over. But the problem is that Yoda's so small, he doesn't have a long way to fall. So that's not that big of a deal. And then he does come with one other little accessory, and that is an alternate head, just like the other Yoda, which I wish I had remembered to actually get out of storage, but I don't think it would fit. The other one comes with like an eyes closed, like he's using the Force, and I actually thought that was the one I had on him normally, but I guess it's not. But we do have this more, I don't want to call it angry, although it's angrier than the other one for sure, but it's more concentration. He's got like a concentrated look on his face, maybe determined look on his face, but he definitely he doesn't look as happy as this one. That's for sure. This one's got like a slight smile, like the kind of thing, whereas this one's got the kind of thing. And I actually do like this look a lot. This reminds me a lot of Revenge of the Sith, when he was either facing Darth Sidious or just fighting a bunch of clone troopers and killing them. And this might be how I have him on my shelf. I do like the look of this. It's especially if he's holding his lightsaber. I think it's more fun to have. I mean, I've got a couple Yodas on my shelf. Having one with a lightsaber is going to be nice. But of course, if you have this, one of the things that you really should have with it is a figure I have neglected to talk about this year, and I don't really know why, and that is Darth Sidious. Now, this is what I was looking forward to the most on my shelves, just getting pictures of this little fight right here. Palpatine and Yoda in Revenge of the Sith. Now, that was on a whole other level of just hype, especially when he walks into his office and just slams the royal guards back against the wall. It was so good. But this whole scene was hype. And these two together is what I was looking forward to the most. And I haven't actually done a video on this. It just came at a time where I was busy and everything. So I figured, why not? Why not? Let's just go over this here, give you my brief thoughts on this figure. Now, let's start with the figure itself. 99% of this figure is this head and this robe. The robe is really nice. It's got elastic on the sleeves to keep them in place. The head is a sculpted hood with a really nice face as a separate piece underneath. It really gives it that nice look, but they've mixed materials here with sculpted plastic rubber and then soft goods. The soft goods look good, but you know, it is mixed, and some people might not like that. Underneath, he has the Jedi Book of Boba Fett Jedi Luke body, which is an interesting choice. And I don't think it's the wrong choice. I mean, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel, since what really gives Palpatine his look is this robe and his head. So what does it matter what's under it, as long as it gets the job done? Like, the articulation's good. If you knock him back and have his legs showing like he did when he got knocked back behind, I mean, I feel like that's close enough. Like, it's maybe not 100% accurate, but it is close enough. And the body has decent articulation. So it is what it is. And I've actually done a full review on that figure when it came out, 2 years ago now, with the Book of Boba Fett Grogu build-up pack. He does come with a really nice lightsaber. Super, super nice lightsaber. It is this, it's painted, just, it's spot on from what we got in the movie Revenge of the Sith, I guess / Clone Wars, although he only comes with one, so it's definitely Revenge of the Sith and not Clone Wars. And this was actually the first figure from the Revenge of the Sith line, which, I didn't have the box out here because this was kind of oh yeah, I could talk about this kind of thing instead of having it planned. But this does remove. There is no spot for him to put it on his belt, but Palpatine is known for actually keeping it up his sleeve. And there is enough of a give up here and in the sleeve to where if you wanted to, you could just put the lightsaber up in his sleeve and it will stay there. So if you want him just kind of hanging out like this, you can do that. You'll know the lightsaber's there. Just don't forget, I guess, if that's where you store it. And of course, Sidious wouldn't be Sidious without his lightning hands, and he does come with those. I almost had him with his lightsaber up, but he actually didn't have his lightsaber up when he was taking Palpatine's lightning to the face. He just absorbed it with his hands. So, you've got stuff like this, and that's great. I do like that. This is a much needed figure in the Black Series. It was nice to have on shelf. I think some people might have been a little disappointed with the amount of reuse on it, but like I said, you can't see it. So what does it matter? Like, you're not taking that robe off. That robe is Darth Sidious from Revenge of the Sith. Like, it's not him for most of the movie, but it's him at the end of the movie when he's specifically being Emperor Palpatine Darth Sidious. Like, that's the climax of the movie, Palpatine right there. And now we have a Yoda to go with it. So what's not to like? Like, that's incredible. I can't say much more good about this, but let's take Palpatine away. I'm gonna give him like a 4 out of 5. I don't have a lot of thoughts on him. That's just how I'm feeling on him. I wish I liked him better. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him at all. I think he is fine for what he is, but I do feel like something's missing, and I can't quite put my finger on it. So 4 out of 5 is kind of where I landed on this, which is a great score. So where do I land on this 2-pack? Firstly, I think Yoda's practically perfect. I really can't think of anything he could have done better. Is he a little bit of reuse? Yeah, sure, that body is reuse. But, the head's new, the accessories are new. If they had released this Yoda by itself, I really can't think of anything I would have wished they'd done instead. With the chair, with the extra head, with the double lightsabers, and the little stick, I think he's a perfect retail mass release if they had just done Yoda by itself. Sure, he's small, but I feel like he comes with enough. He comes with enough stuff to justify paying that much for such a small amount of figure, especially for being such an iconic and needed figure for the line. As far as Gree goes, he's not the Gree I would want. And, I've seen that a lot online. I agree. He should have been either the Phase 1 Gree or another version, an updated version of the Kashyyyk Gree, especially based on the end. And I know when they announced him, You know, Eric said he's based on that comic, and it's that comic I specifically talked about. I get that, but that's just it's such a small, insignificant appearance of Gree to get a figure of, when I feel like the phase 1 version would have been a much better choice, and would have made sense in terms of the Clone Wars, because this is just, to my knowledge, this line, the Clones of the Republic, is meant to be kind of a Clone Wars centric line. That's why the Mace Windu came with the little Clone Wars gauntlet. Like, he is modeled after his 2008 Clone Wars appearance, the CGI appearance. I think Gree is the wrong release for this, but that being said, it's not a bad release. Like, the figure's not bad, I guess is what I mean by that. The figure's painted nicely. The sculpting, the mold is, like I said, one of Hasbro's best. I love the newer Clone Trooper mold. Anything they want to release on this, I'm looking forward to the Cody coming out. Like, anything they want to put on this, however you want to paint it, Hasbro, I'm in. I'm buying at least one, if not maybe two, because I think they're good. They're a lot of fun to pose and mess around with. But man, yeah, it's just specifically for this 2-pack, I think it's the wrong one. So the 2-pack as a whole, is probably going to get maybe, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. The 2-pack as a whole. And the real bummer is just that Gree being the wrong Gree for this. Although the figure itself is good, and if they had just said, here's an 81st Clone Trooper or whatever it is, I would have been like, yeah, hell yeah, this is what I'm all about. This is my jam. But the specific fact where they're like, nah, it's Gree, and I'm just like, okay, sure, why not? All right, whatever. So I'm docking that a little bit. I will say this was not hard to get. I got free shipping from Disney. I canceled my order from Hasbro Pulse. Although it was a little cheaper in Hasbro Pulse. It was $45 and it was $49 on Shop Disney. I mean, that $5 doesn't matter to me. I wanted to get it earlier, whereas on Pulse, they haven't even shipped yet. Whereas the Mace Windu 2-pack came out way earlier on Pulse, and that was kind of what I was expecting. But I don't think this is hard to get, so that's good. And I do think that this is a set worth getting. The Yoda is by himself is a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Love the Yoda. The Gree is a good figure if you're just looking for a clone trooper. It's not a great Gree, or it's just not the Gree I want. That's the more accurate way to put it. It's just not the Gree I want. And that is kind of Hasbro's fault. But the figure's good. Anyways, that's it. Let me know what you think down in the downstairs area. Do you agree with me? Do you like this set? Are you looking for more stuff like this? Does the Yoda do it for you? Or are you sad that it's a smaller Yoda? Like I said at the beginning, this is the accurate size for Yoda. This is how big Yoda should be. This is based on the newer updated sculpt from 2020. Yeah, let me know. I love to read and respond to the comments when I can. I also want to thank these people here for supporting me on my YouTube channel membership. I used to have Patreon. I canceled that because I just feel like I wasn't doing enough. But with YouTube, if you want to support me and get your name on here, you can jump on that. Also, you do get my videos like a day early. Like if I finish this today, I'll put it up for channel members, and then the normal people can watch it tomorrow. So that's usually how I do that. But if not, that's fine. Just liking, sharing, subscribing. That helps go a long way. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me while I talk about toys. Life's crazy, and sometimes just diving into the world of toys and ignoring everything else is fun. Toys are supposed to be fun. And if you're not having fun with toys, why are you collecting them? To go do something that you do find fun. If toys have lost their fun, I get it. Sunk cost fallacy. Don't keep holding on to them because it's something or you've always done. If they're not fun for you, go do something else. And if they are fun for you, let's hang out and talk about them. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.